We'll let Coach make an opening statement and open up for questions. Coach?
Yeah. First off, I guess I apologize. We got our schedules mixed up a little bit, but we're excited to be here. Obviously, didn't even get a chance to look at the facility, but understand tradition and the quality baseball program we're here to visit. So we're awfully excited about spending a few days down here in Columbia.
Raise your hand and get the microphone to you.
Charlie, if you don't mind, just ask how your schedule and how the past regionals have helped prepare you for this adventure you're about to go on.
Yeah, well, some of these guys will attest that being on some of the regional teams. We were out in Oregon a couple years ago, and it was a neat experience with that. Obviously with the climate of the college baseball, you see where hasn't been a regional in the Northeast in, I think, over 12 years. There was some speculation there. Boston College might have one, but we've always valued and treasured these experiences, going to different venues and playing, and it's a great passion in fans. So we're hoping to do that. We started the year going down to LSU, which was an experience playing the number one team in the country, and they whacked us around pretty good. But it was neat playing in one of those venues, and we're looking forward to it again tomorrow.
Charlie, 2 questions for you. Do you know how your pitching will set up for this weekend, and just what kind of challenge does South Carolina present both on the mound and at the plate?
Well, first off, we're going to start Jake Newman tomorrow night, and then Dominic Nyman will start on Saturday. The sole reason for that, Dominic pitched Thursday and Sunday last weekend, threw a complete game on Sunday. Have done it in the past with our team, and just hopefully the extra day rest will allow him to come back and do that. When you come into a Southeast Conference team or a Power 5, there's going to be a tremendous amount of depth and talent in that other dugout. We expect them to put pressure on us. I know their depth in their bullpen usually is going to be something we're not familiar with. Our objective over the years is to try to get through the starter and get to the other team's bullpen, because in our conference, that's where everybody's more vulnerable. Don't think that will be the case this weekend, but we're going to obviously go out there and do what we do and try to play that way.
Coach, welcome to Columbia.
Thank you.
When you schedule those games against LSU, is one of the reasons you do it is to get ready for moments like this in the NCAA tournament? And what did you learn about your team that helped you to go on and have a successful season?
I think when you schedule that, you have to be careful because of some restrictions we live by. A healthy guarantee was enticing to go down there. But you have to have a mature team. What was fortunate while we were down there, that Butler University was there, and we sort of played a round robin. So we were able to get out of town 2-2, which didn't destroy us. Because sometimes when you go into those environments, your younger pitching is very vulnerable, and all of a sudden a young kid starting his college career pitching to that lineup can have nightmares that last a long, long time. But we were able to get out of there and get started right away in our conference, and we ended up sweeping the first weekend of the year. So in the long run, it proved to be a good decision by the coaching staff. Some of those games I wasn't quite sure it was the right move, but it led to us having a terrific season and a first place regular season, and ultimately a conference tournament, which that's how we're going to get to these tournaments, is by winning that tournament.
Can we ask players questions? Oh, okay. This is for Mike or Elliot. We've talked about what you guys maybe worry about with South Carolina and their depth in the SEC, but what should South Carolina fans and maybe the team be worried about CCSU?
I think the first thing they should be worried about is just our grit and our determination, our drive, and our hitters. We're going to grind out at bats. We're going to play hard defense. We're going to play the game hard. We're going to take extra bases, and we do the little things right, and those type of things are going to help us win ball games.
I think Mike pretty much summed it all up. But CCSU baseball is a bunch of hardworking guys who play smart and play good defense, and we have timely hitting. So we plan on doing just that.
For the guys, a couple of the Campbell players were in here earlier saying that playing road games in big environments like North Carolina State and Duke and some of their non-conference games prepared them from an environment standpoint more than anything. Going down to LSU and being in an environment like that, how do you think that will help you, if at all, for something like this weekend?
Seeing SEC pitching our first weekend of baseball was something different, but it was a good experience. It definitely got us ready for the regular season and conference play. And I think now that we've seen it before, we'll have a good opportunity at playing some good baseball. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think ultimately, myself and as a baseball player, you always want to play against the best teams that you can, against the best competition. I mean, that's what's going to make you a better player and a better competitor. So the more that we're able to do that, I think the better we'll be in the future and this weekend also.
Charlie, what are your thoughts on where Northeast baseball is right now at the college level? And do you kind of feel like you're carrying the mantle for that right now?
Well, yeah. I mean, I believe we have 5 teams from New England that are playing in the tournament, and I've seen in the 20+ years I've been doing this as them making more of a dent in this. Sort of weird. I talk about 15 years ago or so, they made a start date in college baseball where they wanted the South to slow down and not start as quick. It's that February 15th weekend. And what it's done, it's had the North start earlier. We never played until March, but now teams are playing earlier and earlier, hence traveling, taking trips like that to LSU. And you're getting exposed to, obviously, the high level quality of throughout the country in doing that. But yeah, it's awfully hard, to still get through, where you got to come down to a place like this and beat South Carolina in front of their own fans, and then ultimately if you get through this, then you got to go to Gainesville and get through that group, So the path is very difficult to get to Omaha coming from the Northeast, but it's a challenge we all enjoy. The ability for my kids to play in front of their parents and friends all the time is something that we use in the recruiting tool. But yeah, it's still going to be a challenge. I don't see the season moving further and further. Sometimes there's some proposals of having a College World Series July 4th, and play the season in a better climate where we could put together facilities and try to attract crowds and drive up revenue is ultimately what starts to make decisions. But we're still not there in the Northeast.
Coach, your players touched on it, but for folks who haven't seen your team play before, how does your team play? Like, what do you want fans to be able to see about them and take from watching you guys?
Yeah, our success this year has been built around our pitching and defense, and when we've gotten into a position later in the games, our strength has been Vinny Spizzuco and Luke Garofalo, where these are guys that, for the most part, have been able to throw strikes and they can strike people out. And at our level, that's a huge advantage to win games that you're supposed to or should win, where you're not giving up that 3 runs in the 8th or 2 runs in the 9th to kick some games away. We lost 1 game in extra innings this year where we, didn't take care of the baseball. But for only to have that happen once in a college season I'll take that every year. But for the most part, we've been able to win the games that we're ahead of and play. Now, obviously, we're going to face some stiffer lineups and some people that can really put pressure on our defense. But my experience is extra outs lead to lots of runs, and if you give an offense and that 4th out or 5th out in an inning, you're going to pay for it on the scoreboard.
Have you found building and making the breakthrough to the NCAA the hardest part, or is sustenance, maintaining that standard? Which one's been the hardest part?
Well, I think probably getting there first, but this is, I've been fortunate to be the head coach of this program for 24 years, and this is our 8th trip to a regional. It's something that, as a program, we're awfully proud of. The fact that you got to win it to get there, that we can't schedule, we don't have an RPI that will justify being in it. And obviously, the depth of some of these conferences is ridiculous. We still have to go out and get those 27 outs and win a tournament and a championship to know that you're going to be able to come to a tournament. And that never gets old, that fact of winning that championship. And unfortunately, we've been doing it coming out of the losers bracket, which is not a good recipe, but we take a lot of pride in winning those championships, and something that we hope to continue to do in the future.
I'm sorry, I found that interesting. Do you find yourself in February, March preparing for the conference as that this is our one ticket, so we have to build and simulate schedule and things like that?
Absolutely. We just had a dynamic change in the conference where we added the 4 MEAC schools, that were searching for a conference. So we went to 11 teams, and now we have Lemoyne joining next year. So we'll have a 12-team conference that's 6 advanced to the conference tournament, and then the win out of that. So obviously putting yourself in the first steps of the goal is to qualify for your conference tournament, and then put yourselves in a position. Again, we're nowhere near that, developing an RPI that we can finish second in our conference and be given an opportunity in the tournament. So, you focus more on where we are and relative to what our competition in our conference is.
Thank you. The decision to hold Dominique until Saturday instead of starting him tomorrow. Of course, he had a complete game on Sunday. What was the conversations like as you guys tried to make that decision? Did he want to push to pitch tomorrow night in the opener, or was he satisfied waiting until tomorrow, Saturday?
Of course he would have wanted that, and that opportunity, and we don't miss that, but he understands the big picture. He got his ask last weekend because he knocked on our door and wanted to pitch on 2 days rest. And, I was not going to argue with that one. But this one really has just been my experience because I did it previously when I was the head coach at Providence. We were in a similar situation, and we were playing down at Florida State, and I started a kid, and I'm like, about the third inning, he didn't have it. And it was like foolish for me to not even think about it. So we've done it a couple other times. Tommy Curtin was a kid in our program, I think it was 19, that we went down to Arkansas. And, yeah, he didn't get the chance to pitch against them, but the next day we played California, and we won our first NCAA tournament game with him on the mound. I just think health-wise and effectiveness-wise, he understood that.
Anything else for these guys? Good? All right. Thank you all.
Appreciate it.